Hey everybody, Z Garcia here, and today we're going to be traveling back to the 12th century along the Silk Road to visit a place called Merv. In this game, each player is going to be taking their own actions. You are going to be building, you are going to be trading, you are going to be gathering various goods, visiting different locations like the library or the mosque, trying to, at the end of the game, have the most victory points, the most whatever that represents, right? Wealth, prosperity, influence in the city, perhaps. You're also going to need to be careful because the Mongols will be raiding the place, attacking the city twice in the game, and you want to keep them at bay so that you can hold on to your buildings. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the game. There's a lot going on in this box, so I'm not going to be covering everything. And then we're going to come back up here, and I'm going to tell you what I think of it. The game's going to take place over 3 years, which are going to be tracked down here. And at the end of each of those, there's going to be a scoring phase, which happens right here at the palace, as well as scoring points for buildings that the players possess, okay? At the end of the second and the third year, there's also, before we score, a Mongol invasion, which has the Mongols attacking the city from all four sides, and that's what these walls are for. They'll be protected, these buildings, if they have walls around them or soldiers, which we might put out ourselves, okay? So that's the general flow of the game. Each of those years is going to be broken down into 4 action selection moments, if you would, for the players, okay? And obviously, I'm not going to be going into all the little nitty-gritty of the game, so this is not a how-to-play video. Just be aware of that. I will not be covering everything. Now, let's take a look at what one of those years would look like. We have here the players and their pieces. On each of those years has 4 action selection stages, like I said, 1 per side of the city here. So we're going to do the first one. If you're in the front of the line, you take your piece, you put it anywhere you want, and one of these that's still unoccupied, like there, and you pick a building. If that building has no little building marker on it, you put one on there of your color. Say that one there. And then you are going to get the resource that location makes. In this case, it's a little purple cube. I get the little purple cube. So red, the red player gets this. Then you do one of 3 things. You can gain favor. That means you give yourself 1 tick of favor up here on this track. You need that to be able to spend it to be able to score if you've got your meeples in this area. Second option, you can put out a soldier. You take one of your meeples, these are smaller than the main guy, by the way, and you put it on any building that you want to protect in that little location that has a little meeple on a shield. If you do that, you put them there, that building is protected from the Mongols for the rest of the game. If you protect your own building, you go 1 up on this track up here. If you protect someone else's building, you go up 2 on this track up here, and this track is going to unlock your ability to accomplish or collect a couple of things along the way, as well as give you victory points if you get really high up on it, okay? So that's what that does. Third and final option, if you don't want the favor, you don't want to put out a soldier, is you can take the action associated with that location. And those are all of these areas around the board, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and break those down in just a little bit, but let's hold on to that. So red's done that. Once that's done, they may also, if they can and have the ability to do so and have the resources to do so, they can accomplish one of these little goals here. You can do that on top of one of the things I just explained. Now comes yellow. Yellow's going to take their turn. Yellow's going to go, let's say, there. They're going to pick a building. They're going to put out their marker there because there is no one else's in that location. They are going to take the associated resource, and then they are going to take an action. One of those 3 things I said. All right? And then blue goes and does all of that same stuff. Now, the players are going to scoot up to this corner and prepare for the next leg here of the action selection. Yellow, who is in the back right now, would go to the 3rd place. Red goes to 2nd place. Blue goes to the 1st place. There is a way to bend that rule. If you spend camels to bump yourself up, we're going to not worry about that right now. And then we do it again. So now, obviously, blue didn't place out a house, but let's say they did. They chose, where were they? Blue was over here, I think, so blue went there, okay? Now, blue is going to select the location, just like before, and let's say blue selects this one. They pick a building in that line. Let's say they pick that one there. There is no house there, so they put one out. And then they are going to get that cube, okay? But they're also going to get that one, because when you trigger a location, after you put a house there, assuming, there isn't one, then you're going to get every resource that has a player's piece on it that matches the one you chose. That applies for somebody else also, okay? So later on in the game, for example, if blue has already taken a few different locations, say that, and red happens to be the one who lands there, and they activate that building, red is going to get purple, they are going to get teal, and they are going to get that tan cube. And blue, as a bonus, gets just the one that was activated, just purple, and while red gets all three, okay? So be aware of that. And then blue does the same thing I said. They go out there, they activate a location, they get the cubes, they do one of the three things, right? Favor, put out a guard, take the action associated with that tile. So let's go ahead and, well, basically you do that 4 times, then you come back here and it's the end of the year and we score. So let's talk about what are these actual locations? What do they do? Okay, let's break that down. We're going to start down here with the library. At the library, you can spend your resources, your little cubes. You can spend up to 4 to get that many of these scrolls, okay? They all have to be different, so the most you can spend is 4. There's only 4 different colors. Now, white cubes that you'll get from some places are wild. You can always spend those as well, and they count as another color, okay? So you're going to get these. Every time you get 2, when you pass the threshold of 2 or 4 or 6 or 8, you also get one of these stacks, and you pick a bonus from it. You pick whichever bonus you want, and you're going to put the other ones back there. You keep your scrolls, and now you've got a bonus as well. These bonuses give you discounts, basically, for a few other abilities that make some of your cubes wild, and then the 6s and the 8s just give you a one-time bonus, okay? Like, for example, one of the 8s is 8 victory points. One time, boom, that's it. So that is that right there. Up here at the marketplace, when you go there, you can establish your trade network, let's say it's Red who's doing this, at one of these inner cities or one of these outer cities. Now, when you do the inner cities, if you're the first one there, you get a camel. Okay, the camel has a few different uses. I'll talk about that, or maybe not, later on. If you do one of the outer cities, you must already be at the inner city. And after you do that, you may buy resources. Okay, you're going to buy goods in this case, not just the cubes, but actual little goods here. And those goods, you can buy 1 from each place where you are. In this case, I can buy those fruits there for 1 orange cube, 1 orange resource. I would give that up, right? And I would get 1 of those in my supply. I can also, again, I can buy from everywhere I am, but I can also buy from places I am not, as long as I spend a camel to get there. So if I have a camel, I can put that camel here on this path momentarily and be able to come up here and buy 1 of these gems for 1 teal and 1 tan. So I could get that as well. Once that's done, and I've bought 1 from everywhere I can, and 1, 2, if I used any camels, they go out here to the caravansary, and they go on the next card that doesn't have one, okay? So there it is. So we do that. I'm not going to worry about this camel for right now. That is that. Now, what are these things doing? What am I doing with these scrolls? What am I doing with these goods? Well, the scrolls give you those bonuses. The goods and the scrolls combined let you get these bonus cards, such as, oh, let's grab one here and take a look. That one there says you need to have 1 scroll, 1 common good, 1 rare good. If you do that, you pay a cube, you get 8 points, and you get a bonus favor down there, okay? However, to get these, to even qualify for these, you have to be up at this threshold on this track to even qualify for that, and obviously you need to have the stuff. You don't spend it, but you do lock it onto this card, okay? And the other thing that these various pieces do, the scrolls and the goods, is that you can score for them down here if you manage to do that. Let's talk about that one next, okay? So, When you choose to do this, the palace, you can put one of your little meeples out there. In fact, you can deploy as many as you want to, just like you can buy as many scrolls as you want to. The first one you put out there is going to cost you 1 resource of whatever matching color it goes to. In this case, if I put it there, I get 1 teal. Or I pay 1 teal cube, okay? If I take the first spot, I get a free favor to go with it. Now, I want to send another one out there. And let's say some of my opponents have already taken some places, okay? So let's say they've done that. That's what it looks like. The next one I send out, no matter where I send it, is going to cost me 2 resources. So if I put it, say, there, 2 teal resources. If I put it there, 2 orange resources, and I get another favor. And as soon as I get that favor, I also get a victory point. So I go to the main track and I get a victory point, okay? What are these locations? Well, they let you score. Every time we end one of the years, you're going to get 1 point per scroll for every character you have here. You're going to get 1 point per camel card, 1 point per good, and 1 point per step up on the mosque track right here. You must be able to spend the favor, though, for every character you want to score. So if this is what it looks like at the end of the year, I can spend my 2, and I'll get 1 point per card of these, 1 point per step up on the mosque. Okay? And you keep track of that, like I said, on the score track around the outside. Now, those characters will stay there, and my next deployment will cost me, you guessed it, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, and so on. Let's say I've gathered a bunch of these scrolls. I really want to take that spot. I could go there. It's going to cost me 3 purple cubes when I choose to go to that location from one of these tiles that has the matching symbol. Speaking of the mosque, let's go to it. So the mosque over here, you are going to be moving up the track. And let's take yellow for our example here. You'll notice that between every step, there is a cost in those resource cubes. The first step, say I pay 1 teal, and I go there. If there is still a camel there, I'll take it. And I can move up as far as I want to on that track. So for example, let's say I have all of these resources in my hand. It's my turn. I chose an action that allowed me to go to the mosque out here. So I'm going to spend 1 orange, and I can go there. And I get a bonus, which is one of these. I spend now a teal. A tan, and I go there. And I get a bonus favor. Then I'm going to spend a purple. And I'm going to go here, and I get one of these bonuses. I pick the one I want. And then for the next step, it would be 1 tan, 1 teal. Well, I don't have it. Okay, I'm done for this round. If I am over here, by the way, if this was, yellow was in that spot, when scoring comes around, assuming I can pay the favor, I'm going to score 1, 2, 3, 4 points, 1 times the level at which I am, which is the 4th level. I'm going to get 4 points for that. Okay, let's move ourselves up here to the walls. You can spend the matching resources to build walls, and when you put them out, let's say this is the yellow player taking a turn. When you put these out, the walls go there, the large ones here go here in the center. The attacks from the Mongols go 2 tiles in, 2 tiles deep, meaning this wall here will protect that building and that building. But be aware, they're not protected from that side. A wall must go there as well. And now, this building is perfectly protected. Makes sense? But when you put out a wall, if you block your own building, this is yellow again, so this is not my own building. For every building that you block yourself, you get 1 tick up on this track. If you block someone else's building, you get 2. This works the same way as the soldiers, right? Soldiers, you protect somebody else's, you get 2. You protect your own, you get 1. Being higher up on this track, like I said, lets you accomplish these. It gives you access to these based on, the level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s. It also allows you to collect different kinds of cards. These caravan cards, okay? So let's go ahead and go to that area. When you go to that area, the caravansary, you can spend resources to acquire as many cards as you want, but every resource you spend must be the same. So, say I have these resources here. I can spend the 2 teal and the white, which is wild, and I could acquire 3 cards. You can take any one that has a camel. You're allowed to do that. You can also take the next one that doesn't have a camel. If you want to take anything after that, then you must be leaving camels behind to take the next one here. And these all have there are 4 kinds of goods out here. You can only collect different kinds of goods based on this track. Meaning at the beginning of the game, as soon as I get one that is ginger, I can't have anything but ginger cards until my token gets at least to that spot. Then I could start collecting one more kind of thing. Eventually I could collect 3 different kinds. Eventually I could collect them all. And those are endgame scoring. Having sets of these is going to give you victory points. And they are sets of different ones, obviously. So if I have one of each at the end of the game, I'm going to get 10 points. 3 different ones, 6 points. Besides that, you'll see right above that, as soon as you as soon as you have 2 of the same thing, so as soon as I have 2 of the, what is this here? That looks like cinnamon, perhaps? As soon as I have 2 of those, I am going to get 1 white cube, which is a wild cube. And that's how they work. These, juniper here, as soon as I have 2 of those, I am going to get 1 favor. I'll track that up on the favor track, all right? So that's how that works. And once you're done visiting this, so once I've acquired all my 4 cards, then we replenish this from the deck right here. Let me go back to the scoring for a second to explain. I already explained this. Let me explain the locations, the buildings, and why you might want them to not be attacked by the Mongols. Once you've done this scoring, you're going to get 1 point for every one of these buildings out here as well. And you might get a couple of other bonuses. Some come from here, some come from being quite high up on the track here. But every time a Mongol would take out one of your buildings, you're allowed to pay the ransom for that location. Say this is going to be attacked, and I don't want to lose it. I'm allowed to pay the ransom, which is a matching cube of that type. I'll leave it on there for a moment, and that one's safe. Okay? And then once we're done scoring, we can clean this up. There are 3 ways to protect that building, therefore. I can have a soldier on it, mine, or if someone else protected me, right? That's good. Having the walls necessary, so that's good, right? Or I can just pay when they come, and then the building will stick around, right? So there it is. That is most of the moving parts. There are a couple of other things. Yes, you'll see on this track, for example, that if you hit the top and would move again, it gives you 1 point up on this track. This one does the same thing. If you make it to the end and would move again, you'll get a favor down there. And there are various uses for the camels, bonuses, the ability to move up on the bidding track here, or the turn order track. Various other things happening. But this has been long enough. Hopefully this gives you an idea of all of the intricacies and the moving parts in the game. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of the game, how it feels, how it plays out. Alright, that's Merv. Let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to start with my negatives first, the things I didn't like so much, and we're going to end up strong, because overall this is a strong game. By the way, there is a solo player mode in here, but I'm not going to touch on that. I leave that to the illustrious Mike Delisio. I'm sure he's going to get around to it. So, let's start off, okay? My main drawback here is the theme and the thematic implementation of what's going on. It's not very exciting, it's also quite abstracted. Every part of the board, every thing that it's supposed to be representing really does feel quite abstracted. It lacks excitement. It lacks, unfortunately, I'm talking about from a thematic point of view here, it really lacks specificity. And that's the biggest drawback, I think, when it comes to theme, is a theme that feels generic even though there is one there. You will not use this theme to teach. None of it would make sense if you attempted to do that, so be aware of that. I don't think the theme here is something you are coming back to the table because you enjoyed. You might be fine with it, but I don't think it's going to be a draw. My other 2 things I'm talking about here are not quite negatives. They just didn't quite earn that plus. That I want to feel good about giving that plus, okay? And they are the ease of play. The game is very heady. There's a ton going on. There are a ton of little rules, exceptions, or little things you can do. And a player aid would have gone a long way to helping with that. Now, a lot of that is on the back of the rule book here, okay? This is solid. I'm glad they put this on the back of the rulebook. But a player aid would have been nice. Maybe a little tips and tricks would have been nice. An explanation of maybe what you ought to do on your first game. That sort of stuff. But mainly a player aid would have been good. So the ease of play is okay. You can certainly play this. Rulebook is clear. That's not an issue. It's just a little more aid along the way would have gotten players up to speed a little faster. That first play will likely be a touch rough for the players. There's also Beast to teach this game, by the way. I did that, and did it twice to 2 different groups, and that's tough. So be aware of that. Some sort of material to help that along would be appreciated. The other thing is the game arc is a little tricky in this one. 3 years seems like a short game. 12 rounds. You only take 12 rounds. Seems like a short game. But this one suffers from what I call the deck building syndrome. And that is where your first turn, your first action, 1 out of 12, takes you all of 30 seconds. And then the last one takes you 6 minutes, okay? And that's just because things compound. Much like in a deck building game, that first hand you throw out, you go, I have 3 coins, I buy a card, and then, the 20th round you have, you go, okay, extra action, extra buy, I draw 3 cards, oh, that's another action, that's another buy, that, okay? This has that feel. That's not necessarily bad. I definitely didn't want it to be, to feel empty. I want it to be filled with interesting choices, and it is. But that ramp-up effect is a little strange and makes for just a weird game arc, okay? So be aware of that. You're going to feel like you're not doing a lot. At the beginning, you're like, oh, goodness, the first year's done? That's it? And then the third one takes a long time to play through. Also, the whole attack by the Mongols thing only happens twice. So if you go all in on protecting places, putting out walls, you might run up on that track at the top of the board. But you're only doing, like, you're going to feel like you are effective twice in the game if that's where you put your focus. So it's a little wonky, right? That's what I'm talking about. There you go. Everything else I do enjoy quite a bit. I think the aesthetics in this game are very good. I love this cover. Gorgeous cover. Board looks great. Color choices, fantastic. Everything pops. Good iconography all over the place. The whole thing is beautiful. I really love the way this game looks. I think it's going to get a lot of attention. I hope it gets a lot of attention based on the look. And I think it's going to keep coming back to people's tables because of the game. But hopefully it hooks everybody with that cover, with the way everything looks on the table. Next, the replay value. There are a lot of different things you can do in this game. There are so many choices. There are so many different paths to victory. So many little things you can sort of combine into what feels like a cohesive strategy. And that is some wonderful replayability. Besides the fact that setup of the city will be a little bit random, doesn't really matter that much. In fact, they could have pre-printed one set on the board. Might have been nice for them to like pre-print one, and then you can play with that, or you can mix it up with tiles. That might have been an interesting idea. But anyway, there's just a lot of different ways that you can tackle this, and a lot of different things you are going to attempt to do. Different locations, right? Some people are going all in with endgame scoring, right? So you're collecting those caravan cards. You are, making sure that you run up on the trek that allows you to take different kinds. But maybe your in-game scoring and the year scoring isn't so great. The inverse of that, of course, being, oh goodness, I want to make sure that I am scoring a bunch of, I'm getting a lot of scrolls. And I'm all about the scrolls at the palace. So every time I score that, it's boom. I jump up a nice chunk on the track. And then hopefully that other person doesn't catch me at the end, right? So I like that dichotomy, Not that there's only two ways to get there, but it feels like variations on those two is where it's at. And then lastly, tactics, luck, strategy. Yeah, there's a lot there, like I was saying. I like the long-term goals that you can set for yourself in the game, but then reacting to what's happening in the game is also nice. I will say, I don't find this to be particularly problematic, but it does go a little bit into the game arc. Should have mentioned it there, really. Because of the way the action selection works, I had a little frustration, but I had some players who were a little more frustrated than I was that they couldn't look ahead. Couldn't really plan ahead too far because someone jumps into the spot. You know, you're thinking, okay, well, I'm third, right? If I go there, I'd select that building, activate this, and someone jumps there, your plan starts again. So you can't really look too far ahead. That could be frustrating for folks that want to pick up the pace, that want to avoid downtime. And this game can certainly lead to downtime because of that. So the tactics are there. I like tactical games. I like the ability of, I like the feel of taking someone else's spot, of messing up their plan, all of those good things, which are certainly, found here. But by that very action, then yes, I slow down the game and folks have to start thinking about what they want to do again. I like it though. Good combination of those two things. So there you go. I enjoy the game overall. It's not stellar, but man, in a really great year for mid to heavy Euro games, here is yet another one. And this one looks gorgeous to boot. That never hurts for me, okay? So this one's going to get a strong 7.5 out of 10 from me. That is a seal of approval. If you enjoy this kind of game, I think you're really going to like it. I myself, I'm a fan of it. It's one I intend to keep bringing back to the table, though I dread a little bit having to reteach it if too much time has gone by. That's going to be a little tricky. But this game is worth it. I enjoy it. So there you go. Seal of approval, ladies and gentlemen. Check this one out, this beautiful game, Merv. My name is Z Garcia, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.